Welcome to the PodFathers of Sports podcast, the show that slaps you in the stats with everything sports related and beyond. Want to know who scored the hat trick or who beat the buzzer? We got that. Want to know who's on the ins and outs with who? We got that too. This is the PodFather of Sports podcast. From all preseasons to all postseasons, we got everything you need and more. And now your hosts, Jerry Ryan and Sonny Parmar. Going live in 3, 2.
Welcome to the PodFathers of Sports podcast. It's been a few weeks since we have seen and talked to you guys. I hope everybody has been well. I have been quite busy over the last 3 weeks. I'm Jerry Ryan. He is Sonny Parmar, in case you guys don't know.
Welcome back.
And, yeah, it's been a while, buddy. Normally we have our third counterpart, Tyler, with us, but he is stuck working his real job. We know how that goes.
He'll be back with us next time, more than likely.
He will. Yes, he will. And over the last 3 weeks, there has been a lot of things that have transpired. We're not going to sit here and try to cover everything that's gone down over the last 3 weeks and hash over the same shit that everybody else has been hashing over. You know, we know the story. My beloved Boston Bruins shit the bed. There's no other way to describe it. Your New York Rangers shit the bed.
Almost as bad.
Yep. Obviously, it's at a different level, right, because the Bruins were so good during the year. Best record. You know, they were such a powerhouse. And the one thing that I was so complimentary on them of, I blame myself, by the way. Everybody in New England, you can blame me. I'm the reason they fucking lost, because I go on and I talk about how Ullmark and Swayman could go stand out on 95 right outside our doorway here and stop anything. And boy, it was the complete opposite, right? They just couldn't stop anything at home. But
Two overtime losses.
Yeah. That brings me to the first thing that I want to talk about here, Sonny, and that is the word failure. You know, and there's, because, you know, you asked me earlier, you know, if I felt that the Bruins season was a failure, and I said I did for a while because of the expectations that I had.
Sure.
But then I sat and I listened to, so I had I'm going to explain really quick why we haven't been on the air for 3 weeks, if I could, really quick, little personal side note here. So I work for a conservative talk show radio host, okay, and he splits his time between Palm Beach, Florida, and Needham, Massachusetts. And when he goes back up in the summer, I drive his car from Florida to Massachusetts. So I did that on April 28th, and that was a Friday. So I drove the car. I got there on Saturday afternoon, and then I had to take a plane that following Monday to Cleveland, and then I had to pick up a pug that he had purchased, and his name is Roscoe the Wonder Pug, and he was great. He was a little puppy. So I had to stop a few times. Drive took a little bit longer, but I didn't mind. So I spent a lot of time in my car, obviously. So I got to listen to, you know, whatever really I wanted to listen to. And I heard a clip from Giannis, and I kind of want to play this for everybody. This is, a reporter had asked him about failure and the season being a failure, and this was his response.
Oh, my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay, do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success. You know, and if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it. You know, Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. You know, there's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're going to come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball, and hopefully we can win a championship. So 50 years from 1971 to 2021 that we didn't win a championship, it was 50 years of failures. No, it was not. It was steps to it, and we were able to win one. Hopefully we can win another one. Sorry that I didn't want to make it personal because you asked me the same question last year, and last year I was in the right mind space to answer the question back.
Wow.
I thought that was very profound.
He spoke eloquently, intelligently. He didn't go off. You see a lot of athletes do that. If you view something as a stupid question, if that's how you perceive it, quite often they go off. I think he related to the common man when he asked the reporter about the promotion. Like, what you go to work for, what you aim for, what are your goals?
Yep.
With that said, he's talking about an organization that went 50 years without winning. I mean, I don't call that a successful run.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time. And back in the 70s, there's 12, maybe 16 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with a lot of what he said. But when he says there's no failure in sports,
yeah. And you're right. They all handle it differently. And I just thought he was eloquently, and he was eloquent in his answer, and he very professional, right? I mean, he showed an amount of respect for that reporter who, asked him the same question last year.
Yeah,
And I know, me personally, you get asked the same question after 3 or 4 or 5 times, right? It starts to get on you a little bit.
Of course.
So, comparing that to, like I was saying about the Bruins season being a failure, so I guess it depends on your definition of failure. Disappointing, I think, is probably a better word. Now, having said that, these guys probably look at it inside to themselves, truly. Like, I'm sure Giannis sees the season as somewhat as a failure, without using the word. Because, like you said, it wasn't successful.
They're the 1 seed.
Right.
He got hurt early in the series.
Sure. Now, is it a failure of a season if the Kansas City Royals only win 30 baseball games? No, because that's what the expectation is.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's all about the expectations.
Oh, there you go.
So when you have an NHL hockey team that set the record for wins, you had 2 goalies that were in the top 3, finished in the top 3. One of them now is a Vezina finalist.
Absolutely. Yep.
Your expectations are you expect to go further than where you went in the playoffs. You got to get past the first round. You got to make it at least until the conference finals, don't you?
Absolutely. When you're up 3-1, you lost the game 5 and the game 7 at home in overtime.
Yeah.
They started that series with a shaky situation with the goaltender. Bobrovsky, end of the season, didn't play much for whatever reason. They called it an illness. Backup Lion came in there. And you're up 3-1. And it's inexcusable.
3 games they lost at home, okay? They didn't lose 3 games at home all fucking year long, and they lost 3 games in this series. And by the way, it wasn't really even close in any of those games if you watched them. It really wasn't. I mean, Florida was the dominant team. They were. I shouldn't really say that in every one of those games. The bottom line in the Bruins series came down to this. Swayman should have been in net at the very latest Game 5, okay? I felt he should have been in there for Game 3 or 4. You had switched goalies all year long. It was very successful for you. Why did you go away from it? And, Montgomery says that his reasoning is he believes in a 1-goalie system in the playoffs,
I do too, but if you've been using the 2 all season...
Well, guess what? So did Florida. But guess what they did after Game fucking 3?
Kept with Bobrovsky.
Exactly. So, and look where it's gotten them so far.
And he's a guy...
Right.
If he has a bad
and
game...
by the way, I'll tell you why my disappointment... It's a good thing that we've had a few weeks, by the way, because if I had come on here and done this fucking 2 days after they had lost... It would have been a whole different
might have exploded.
Yeah, my head would be all over this friggin' table right now.
Fire department would have to come and
absolutely, it'd be a goddamn mess. So, this team, the Florida Panthers, I think people forget they were the President's Cup trophy winner last year.
Yeah.
Okay, this was a good hockey team. And by the way,
and they added Kachuk. They're an even better hockey team now.
Exactly. And they needed Pittsburgh to shit down their leg to even get into the playoffs.
Exactly. Last night of the season, they lost to the Chicago Blackhawks.
That's right.
One of the worst teams in the league.
So I had said to a couple of friends of mine while I was back in Massachusetts for a few days, and we were having some conversations. I almost kind of wish that the fucking Bruins lost to Pittsburgh there in the last week of the season, 1 or 2 times.
To give you a little.
So, but listen, because I've often said this when it's been any one of my teams that have lost to a team that, steamrolls their way through the playoffs and maybe wins a championship, which Florida has a very good chance of doing. So if they get beat by the eventual Stanley Cup champions, I guess I can take some solace in that, right?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, you always want to think you lost to the best.
Right.
I mean, it's still look, a 1 seed. It is what it is. Yeah. I mean, ask a Bucks fan,
right?
How thrilled they're going to be if the Heat win.
That's the next thing that I wanted to get into is that, the Bruins are not the first, obviously, powerhouse team to go into the playoffs and get bounced early. We see this every year in sports. I don't know why I should be surprised by it.
Because of how unbelievable they were.
Yeah.
They were like the Canadians of the 70s for the regular season.
Right. I mean, I don't understand how Milwaukee loses that series. I don't. I think they were obviously the much better team. But, injuries take a big part of it, and
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Right. That guy can drop 40 or 50 on any given night.
I know.
He's still underrated. You talk about the LeBrons, Giannis's. Yeah, but we know Butler's great. I still think he's somewhat underrated. Call me crazy.
Speaking of the NBA, so did you see who won last night?
Your favorite.
Yes,
Gold
that's correct. Sorry.
and purple.
That's right. King James keeps adding to his legacy.
Why didn't you wear his jersey today?
I'm telling you, the man won't go away, and sooner or later, I'm going to have to give him his dues. Now, I didn't watch the game last night. I'm not going to pretend that I did. Yeah,
I readily admit it.
I've been doing a lot of fucking driving lately, and I mean a lot of driving. So, because that wasn't the only trip that I had to take. When I came back from getting the Wonder Pug, I had stayed up in Massachusetts a few days, and then I flew back here on last Saturday. My wife picked me up at the airport at 11 o'clock at night. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon the very next day on Sunday, I was back in my wife's car this time, and I was driving that back up to Massachusetts.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, and then she bought a new car. Now, my brother works for Toyota, so I'm going to give them a plug. And you can't find a brand new fucking car here in Florida without having to wait 4 or 5 months. That's the God's honest truth, at least the car that she wanted. Went to like 5 different Toyota dealerships.
Was it still a shortage?
So they just got no new inventory, I mean, they had plenty of cars on the lot, but no new inventory. You know, I mean, she wanted a brand spanking new car, okay? Specific Camry that she wanted, all this bullshit. Well, my brother is a finance manager for Toyota. He's been with the Mets actually 20 years this year, so congratulations, brother. So he hooked us up, and actually it worked out well because he gave us a much better deal with the interest, all that happy horse shit that you have to deal with when you're buying a car than we would have gotten down here. And not only that, but it was going to cost me like $2,000 to have it shipped down here. I called a couple of places. I was, fuck that. I'll drive it myself. It cost me like $300 plus whatever I spent for food, So that's what I did. So again, a lot more driving, so some more time to, and so I was looking at LeBron's statistics.
For career or
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for his career. And I can't help but think that if Michael Jordan didn't take those years off for basketball, if he was able to pick and choose the fucking teammates he always had, he would have won more than 6 championships if you put those two things together. I'm convinced of that.
Well, yeah, if they did, this whole, joining forces with other stars started with, of course, LeBron down in Miami.
Right.
Back then, yeah, I mean, if Jordan played with Karl Malone, something like that, oh, good Lord.
Well, that's my point, is he played on some of those early Chicago Bulls teams.
Which were not good in the early 80s. They weren't good.
Right. And then they had some that were okay. I mean, they made the playoffs. But everywhere LeBron has gone, he has made sure there's been somebody around him. Think about this. I don't give a shit where it's been in Cleveland, whether it's been in Miami, Los Angeles. He's always made sure that he's had all these pieces around him.
Well, his return to Cleveland, I mean, he had Kevin Love. Was there really another, star, if you will? I give him a lot of credit for winning that one in Cleveland. It was good for first of all, it's the franchise's first championship.
Yeah.
He's from Ohio.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was a good story.
Absolutely.
It was a feel-good story,
yes.
in my opinion.
Yes. I agree. I still don't think he's better than Michael. I don't even.
I never will.
I don't even think he's better than Kobe. I don't.
And I'm so torn on that. I guess
I fucking
let
miss
him,
that guy. I miss Kobe Bryant.
Mamba.
I miss Mamba.
He had the Jordan mentality.
Yeah.
Killer.
Right. That's what I want to bring up next. I'm glad you fucking said that because that segues perfectly into the Celtics 76ers series, which Game 7 is this evening.
Can't wait. Well, you can't wait for sure.
Absolutely.
I can't believe there's.
But I want to know, all my friends up there in New England and everywhere else around, is Jason Tatum ever going to step the fuck up and act like the captain, the superstar that he called himself after Game 6? Is he gonna? Seriously,
I could have done without that.
I don't know how you can call yourself a superstar or be considered one when you can't take over a playoff game when they need you to. I mean, did you see what he did for 3 fucking quarters the other night? It wasn't until the fourth quarter when he got his 16 points. He had done nothing.
He woke up late in the game.
You know, and then Game 2, 6 points. Game 3, he was non-existent. Jaylen Brown and Al Horford have been the two that have really, and I'm forgetting somebody, but have really carried the team. It hasn't been Jason Tatum, and it needs to be. Like, he needs to score 40 fucking points tonight, and Brown needs to score 30. That's how they're going to win.
Yeah, you don't listen. Horford's had a good career. The man's what, 65?
Something like that.
I mean,
he's
AARP
close.
member,
right? So listen, I expect them to win Game 7 at home.
I do too.
But I expected them to win Game 5 at home too, and they just didn't show up for that game. I mean, at all. I mean, that was fucking brutal to watch. I was so pissed off. So
Sixers fans are saying the same thing after Game 6.
Yeah, but their expectations aren't what ours are.
Oh, no.
And by the way,
They should be, though.
if Doc Rivers loses this Game 7, are you shitting me with this guy? You know how many 3-1 leads he would have blown now? I think this is 5, right? You have one in Orlando. He had 2
in Boston.
I don't. Did he lose a 3-1 in Boston? I know he lost 2 when he was with the Clippers.
Okay, that's it.
Right.
It was 2 now.
So maybe it'll be 4. Whatever. I don't care. Either way, the man is a disaster when he's up 3-1. Poor Doc Rivers.
This is his 4th team.
Yeah, I know. So
get in the booth, put one of these on, and make some money.
It's just so it's. I don't think it's going to be easy. Anybody thinks it's going to be easy for the Celtics tonight, then you're not been watching the series because it's not going to be easy.
It'll be a 15-round heavyweight fight.
I think so. I think it is, but I think the Celtics will pull it out, and they should move on to the next round. However, they play the next round, which is going to be against Miami, right?
It's a great series. Well, let's not get ahead of our. Let them win first.
Yeah. So. I don't feel as confident moving on to the next round as I did going into this round. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Miami matches up well, I think, against Boston.
Yeah, they do, and it's hard to win in sports, right? I think
you
that's what
kidding?
we're
Of
seeing
course.
this year. I mean, everybody expects, they should just sweep. When's the last time we saw a team just sweep their way through the playoffs? Whether it's been baseball, basketball, hockey. It just football, at least separate because it's a fewer
once a
games,
week.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got 3 games you got to win, but. When you're talking about series, 7-game series, 5-game series, the team's going to win at least 1 game, right? You expect them to win at least 1 game.
It's so hard in a condensed 7-game series to beat a team 3 in a row.
Yeah, it really is.
Very hard. Like when me and my buddy were talking about the Knicks Heat, when the Knicks were down 3-1. I asked him, in this series, which of the 2 teams is more likely to win 3 consecutive games? I don't think it's close. It's the Heat are built to do it.
Right.
The Knicks, in no way, shape, or form, we're going to win 3 games in a row against the Heat, or anybody, in my opinion.
So I compared on my social media the Bruins and the Milwaukee Bucks to the New York Yankees because I think they fall in this category too. Teams that are built to dominate the regular season, but in a short series, they're not as dominant. And I'm still trying to figure this out, and maybe I'll have some more answers by the time, the next time we sit down, next week or week after, whenever it is. Because I can't understand why that is. And I see it quite often. I'm like, why is this team so fucking dominant in the over a 100-game, 80-game season, whatever it is, and then you get them in a short series, and they don't look like the same team.
In baseball, a lot of it is you might have an offensive powerhouse. The Yankees, Aaron Judge, hit 1,000 home runs. 7-game series for a night or 2. If your bats go cold, your starter, your number 1 or 2, aren't on their game.
Yeah,
You're suddenly down 0-2 or 3-1 in a 7-game series. The Yankees have been experiencing that lately.
right.
They're not. I mean, Look at their lineup. I mean, I know they've had injuries. There's no question about that.
Yeah,
but
well,
that
I mean,
happens.
listen, their two best bats haven't been in the lineup.
Yeah,
And Stanton and
to be
Judge.
fair.
So I mean, it's and there's been some surprising teams this year though in baseball. Baltimore's playing really well.
Rays are
The
dominating.
Rays are dominating. Even the Red Sox are playing well. The
they picked it
Pittsburgh
up.
Pirates are playing well. It's early. I know, everybody. I'm not getting too excited, but But I like that because I think baseball has done a good job at making sure all of these cities are involved. I think they have done a good job at that. I'm very, very, very pleased with baseball this year, Sonny. The games are a lot faster.
Amen
They
to
are
that.
more interesting. I think analytics, it's still a part of the game, right? But then it's not as dominant as it was. You don't have 9,000 different pitch and changes anymore, and the guys can only throw. And by the way, I got to stand corrected. We had done a podcast a few weeks ago, and I said that the pitchers can throw over 3 times. It's only twice that they can throw over during an at bat.
Per
So
at
that brings up the stolen base, which you and I absolutely love. It's a stolen art. If you
course.
didn't have the pleasure of watching Ricky Henderson play between his leadoff home runs and him stealing bases,
Tim Raines.
yeah, right, yeah, absolutely. So even Griffey.
Oh yeah.
If Griffey wanted
Oh,
to,
yeah.
man, that dude could have hit 50 home runs and stole 100 bases every year if he wanted to, I bet you.
Years. I'm going back close to 40 years. Remember a base stealer, Vince Coleman?
Yes, I do. St. Louis.
That guy snagged over 100. Maybe more than once. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I think when he was later in his career, he might have played a year with the Red Sox, maybe. They always pick up those guys, Andre Dawson.
He played for the Mets a couple
Was it
of
the
years.
Mets?
And
Yeah.
the most memorable thing about his tenure with the Mets
Yeah.
is him throwing firecrackers at Dodger fans.
Right.
So if that's what we can remember, that was just a great run we had at Chase Stadium with
That's
Vince
great.
Coleman.
Yeah, that's
Christ's
great.
sake.
So, what's been going on with you over the last few weeks? Anything interesting?
Watching my beloved Rangers get eliminated over a week ago.
Yeah.
Similar to your Bruins. Not, they're up 2-0 as the road team. Lose 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Down in 7 and over and against Jersey.
Yeah.
So pretty much it. Wrapped up in these playoffs.
Yep.
None of my teams are in now. My Knicks were eliminated last night, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
as far as sports, just batter up, right? Go
Yeah,
Mets.
that's it. It's and of course, we had the NFL draft that happened when I don't think there were any great, surprises. My team, the New England Patriots, took the cornerback from Oregon. His name is slipping my mind. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I should know that off the top of my head. And
That's
I
how
don't-
significant he is.
and I don't, but it was a good pick. That they needed that. As far as the draft overall, I think it pretty much went. I think as everybody expected. Those the quarterback Richardson,
Young, of course,
yeah,
to Carolina.
right? So. And speaking of the NFL, I heard yesterday, and I don't know a lot about this story. I think it's still developing that the Raiders may have a partial new minority owner.
You may be familiar with him.
Yeah, his initials
He's on your,
are-
he's on your T-shirt, as a matter of fact.
He is. His initials are TB, and this is Tom Brady. That's interesting, don't you think?
Of course.
What happened to all this fucking talk about Miami?
I don't know. Well, first of all, they did talk, and that got the Dolphins yanked a first-round pick, and the owner got suspended. So there was that talk last year. I don't think. I mean, sure, if he wants to be part owner now, he can. He's not playing, but
If you were going to be a part owner of a franchise, would you want to be the Raiders or would you pick the Dolphins? Because I would pick the Raiders.
I would pick the Raiders. I mean, they're new out in Vegas, new facility.
And it's
the
Vegas, man.
whole bit. Yeah, of
Right.
course.
Fucking Vegas, Is sports a good idea in Vegas?
I don't know for all 4 majors, maybe one or two, teams.
And
They're gonna have a baseball team soon.
yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Listen, forget the goddamn gambling aspect of it, right? Because all the other sports have embraced the gambling aspect of it. Baseball's the only one that hasn't really, embraced the gambling aspect of it.
Oh, the way the world is today, I don't think it matters if you have teams in Vegas.
Right.
I know why we didn't before because
Sure.
of that.
Right.
Now, does it really matter?
Yeah.
You go online, whatever. You can place a bet anywhere in the world.
I want to ask you a question. Is it okay for a professional athlete to bet on sports if he's not betting on his own sport or his own team, obviously?
I think so.
I think so.
First of all, most people listening to us are probably watching ESPN.
Mhm.
How often do you see a DraftKings or any gambling ad or mention? It's all day.
Right. Well, they got it. Yeah. The fucking ticker at the bottom of the screen is presented by DraftKings.
Yeah. So Roger Goodell, I mean, if you're betting on your team or the sport, I think you should be punished severely. If an NBA player is betting on football,
Yeah, who cares?
Whatever.
Right. So why can't they bet on a fucking so why can't LeBron bet on the Celtics and 76ers game tonight? Why wouldn't that be okay? I think that should be okay.
It's a slippery slope. I mean, what if he has buddies on? You never know where it goes to.
Okay.
I'm not getting into points.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't
Let's fucking let's be real here, okay? Do you not think that there's a buddy of Jason Tatum's or LeBron where they may say, "Hey man, fucking bet on us tonight." I'm fucking calls up, hey my boy Brian, hey Brian, I'm gonna be on fucking fire tonight, man. I'm telling you right now, fucking lay those points. You don't think that happens?
I can guarantee it happens.
Of course it does. I think so. Absolutely. Or maybe LeBron calls up Dave and says, "Hey, Dave, I want you to put $2 million down on us tonight." And he makes a little side money on himself, but he's not the one actually doing the betting. I think there's a lot of that shit going on too. There's a lot of sneaky shit that goes on, ladies and gentlemen, with professional athletes and celebrities, and I know because I've seen it and I've talked to some of these people behind the scenes. I've had the pleasure, by the way, over the last 2 months. I've had dinner with 2 ex-presidents. I'm not gloating or anything, but I'm just telling you that these people aren't the way in real life and in person that they are that you see portrayed on fucking television. I'm just telling you that that's the case, okay? And it's been some athletes that I've had that experience with. They're normal people like you and I.
You don't perceive them the correct way.
Right. They just have to act a certain way, because of either what they do or who they are, right?
Sure.
So, but I had conversations with both Bill Clinton and Donald J. Trump, and those conversations were nothing like I thought they would be. They were very pleasurable, even with Bill Clinton, who I'm not a huge fan of, and I know a lot of people out there aren't fans of Donald Trump's. But I'm just telling you guys, if you had a chance to sit down and talk to these guys, one time I had a chance to sit down and talk to Adam Vinatieri.
Okay.
Okay.
Great career.
Yeah. Now this is when he was still in New England, so I'm going back fucking over 20 years. Over 20 years ago. Okay. So long ago that it's when he was like first with the team, and I don't even know who the fuck he was because they hadn't won shit yet, right? Plus he's a fucking kicker. Nobody pays attention to the kicker.
Yeah.
If I known what he was going to become, But we sat and had a normal conversation. I used to live in Walpole, Massachusetts.
Sure.
Up the street was a laundromat. I'd go in there to do my laundry. You know who I used to run into? Offensive lineman Bruce Armstrong for the New England Patriots.
Left tackle.
He was in there doing his own fucking laundry. Do you think there's ever going to come a day where I go to the laundromat right now and I'm going to run into, whoever, Tom Brady or Julian Edelman or doing their own laundry?
Not in this lifetime.
Right? Those days are gone, right? But I know from my own personal experience having conversations with these people that they think like we do. They talk like we do. They just pretend that they don't. And that's okay. But I think it should be okay for LeBron or, for any of those guys if they want to bet on a game that they are not affiliated with. I think they should have the liberty to do so.
Yeah, again, like with other sports, no problem. But it can be a slippery slope, in my opinion,
right.
within the league that you're playing in. Is it happening? Of course it is. These things can be done discreetly.
Yeah.
A third party or, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's only growing. The industry, I don't know how many billions of dollars Americans have spent on gambling in the United States. It's growing every year.
Oh, yeah.
It's going nowhere.
Right. And you got states like Massachusetts, where I'm from, that just legalized it. Right. So, now it's even more so.
I would think every state would have it legal in time. I would think.
You would think so. Listen, man, I think prostitution should be legal. If a woman wants to sell her body, that's her damn business. And if a guy wants to go pay for it, that should be his damn business. But what the hell do I know? I'm just a guy that just sits here and just talks about sports and apparently just fucking drives all over the country for people. With love, by the way. I'm not complaining. I enjoyed my time up north. The weather was real shitty the first few days. It was like fucking 49 and raining. I was like, you gotta be shitting
Gray,
me.
overcast.
Yeah,
I don't miss
I'm
it.
standing outside with 2 sweatshirts on watching my granddaughter play soccer. I'm like, Jesus, man, get me back to Florida, please.
When you see Welcome to the Sunshine State.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. But anyways, so it's been a few weeks, and we kind of just spitfiring here, and we're just kind of throwing about, just about anything. I do want to tell everybody to please make sure that you follow us. We are on Facebook. That's what I mean to say. I want to let everybody know that we're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Obviously, you can watch us here on YouTube. And at some point, probably going to be after the summer, I'm thinking, I really want to be interacting with all you folks out there. We want to be able to, just like a regular talk radio show, if you will.
Taking phone calls for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Letting you guys, voice your opinion. We will have these empty seats will be filled in the future with our midget friend Mikey.
Our boy Tyler will be back with us.
Absolutely. We got a couple of other special guests we're going to have coming in. Somebody that's in sports talk radio. I don't want to mention any names yet because we haven't finalized anything.
Big guy down here in Sunshine State.
Yep.
Put it that way.
Yeah. And then I'm working on a couple of things with some friends of mine. So hopefully we'll get some things together and it'll be, all systems go. We probably won't. In fact, I know we won't do as many shows over the summer. I know me personally, I got, quite a bit of vacation time coming up with my family. And by the way, athletes are not the only ones whose families have to make sacrifices because of their job. Let me tell you.
We all do.
Absolutely.
Are you kidding?
Right.
We all do.
So when I hear these guys say, no, I'm going to go take some time to spend with my family, I really hope that they do so and they don't just go find something else that occupies all their time. Because I can tell you, up until last night, I had slept in my own bed once since April 26th. Okay? I haven't seen my wife and 2 kids down here. I've seen them all but once for a few hours when I was here, and I missed them tremendously. And then I came driving over. Just so everybody knows, we do this podcast in Deerfield Beach, which is 3.5 hours away from where I live. So, again, I got in my car and I drove over, and again, I'm not complaining, just laying it out there. So when I get out of here today, my family has my undivided attention for the rest of the weekend.
The way it should be.
And, it's been a long time. And I realized that I have a pretty good life. I have a lot of family and a lot of friends up in Massachusetts. And I know they miss me when I'm down here, and I miss them too. But to be up there and to be away from my wife and kids as long as I really wasn't used to that. It's kind of the first time really I had to spend real significant amount of time away from them. I didn't fucking like it, Sonny. That's what I'm telling you.
Can't be at 2 places at
once.
once.
No, man. No. So I got a pretty good life. And, it did give me an opportunity to, like I said, listen to those clips like from Giannis and, listen and watch, some of the other games to kind of pass the time, even though I wasn't a fan of those teams, just to kind of keep up with what's going on in the sports world.
Good time of year, playoff time.
Yeah. So I think in the summer we may not do as many episodes, but we know what happens in August. It's football time, baby.
Of course.
And it's going to be all systems go. And I have a feeling we're going to be doing more than one episode a week when it's football season.
We're going to go NFL crazy.
So I don't think I've spoken to you yet about this, but Tyler and I were talking on the phone the other night, and, I really want us to be able to. I know you don't play fantasy football, right?
I don't.
Right. So if you want to this year, we'll introduce you and we'll get you in. But, we kind of want to spend a little bit of time and some segments on fantasy football because I know that there is a shit ton of people that, watch and listen to us that play fantasy football. Plus, I can have on some really good, knowledgeable people when it comes to fantasy football, some really outrageous guests for us that, will come on and really make it a very interesting show. The midget's not the only trick I have up my sleeve, so to speak, for this podcast. Anything that's going to bring entertainment value, I'm all about.
Of course.
So, and and please, like I said, follow us on Twitter, Sports PodFathers. It's the PodFathers of Sports on Facebook, and leave us messages, send us emails, what you like, what you don't like. More importantly, we're always looking to improve. We don't claim to be Google. We don't know everything there is to know about everything, but I think what we do know about is brings an entertainment value to people. And this is what I want to, I know you've got a great job and you've been in there forever, but no offense to Howie and the other organization that I work for, but this is what I want to be doing for a living. I want to be sitting here bullshitting with people, talking sports, whether it be, on, the Sports Hub in Boston, whether it be, what's that one down here, QAM or whatever.
WQM 560, Miami.
Or anywhere for that matter. I like talking about sports. I like interacting with people when I'm talking about sports, especially somebody that doesn't see the same point of view as me, because I love to debate people. I love to debate.
He sure does.
Yes, I do. I will argue any point. It's 92 degrees outside right now. I'll go out there and argue with you that it's 88 degrees.
It feels like 85. That's
exactly.
bullshit.
That's right. so that's what it is. All right. So listen, Sonny, I want to talk about a little bit about the NFL draft, if we could. I just want to, so the Panthers, Bryce Young. I think he's a good quarterback, but I keep thinking about this same point.
Undersized?
No. How many number one quarterbacks end up being very significant for a good period of time in the NFL? The list is very short.
Manning, of course.
Yep.
Elway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think which star QB.
That's what I'm saying, right? You shouldn't have to think that hard if the guy's picked number one. That's my point, right? If you have picked number one, like these guys in the NHL that are drafted number one, they go on to have fucking great careers.
Usually, yeah.
Right? They do. Baseball, same
Unless
thing.
you're a Ranger.
They pick these kids in Venezuela that are fucking 13 years old. By the time they're 18, they're superstars. You know what I mean? And for some reason in football, I don't know what it is, and it's with that position. I mean, obviously, there've been guys that have, failed in other positions, running backs that have fizzled out or not been good, like N'Keal Harry, the wide receiver for the Patriots. What a goddamn disaster that was, But I think Bryce Young is going to be good.
To get him some help.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think he's going to be good. C.J. Stroud, again. I have a problem with Ohio State quarterbacks because they come to the NFL and, like, when they first get to the NFL, they seem to, like, they do okay, but then they fizzle out. And, again, if you're picked 1, 2, or 3 in the NFL, I don't care what position you are, you should have a significant career, right? I'm not saying you should be a Hall of Famer, but...
Make a couple of Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
An established starter.
Right, exactly. None of this where, like, now you're selling fucking insurance for somebody,
Yeah.
Or crypto credits or whatever the fuck is out there these days, this day and age. So
Eli was number one overall too.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, he's
serviceable. I mean, listen, Eli didn't suck. You know why I hate him? Because he fucking beat the Patriots twice. More importantly, that 17-0 season, which was more about their defense than it was about him. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but the man's got 2 Super Bowl rings.
He's going to get in.
So he's going to get in.
Right last name.
Right.
You got 2 rings.
Exactly. This was the pick that I liked because I like this guy a lot. Is Will Anderson, the linebacker from Alabama.
Best player in this draft.
God, I love that guy.
Best plug and play.
Yeah, man.
They got a plug and play player immediately.
Anthony Richardson.
Florida.
I know. That's it. He's a Florida quarterback. That's all you need to know. They never work the fuck out. Never.
Alabama's minus Kenny the Snake Stabler and Joe Namath.
Right.
A prominent Alabama quarterback.
Right.
Still waiting.
Right. I know. Mac Jones? No. Stop, please.
Tua, it's early.
Right.
And again, with the...
Yeah, look at the guys that throwing the ball to. But I suppose they got to get the ball to these guys, right? I mean, they're throwing a Waddle and,
Again, the concussion thing, we'll see. For any player in the world, I'd wish him good health.
Yeah.
But for Tua, let's see. I have a wait-and-see approach with him. First, he has to remain on the field.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so the Falcons take a running back, Bijan Johnson. They take a running back in number 8.
Not a big fan of taking running backs.
Not in this day and age. No, this isn't. No, again, me too. I'm like, why so early? He definitely would have been still hanging around, I think, if they wanted to trade down.
Unless you're getting the next Barry Sanders and, like, you're sure of it, I don't take a running back. I don't even like taking receivers that high.
And why did the Lions draft Jahmyr Gibbs? They traded away running backs just to draft this kid. I don't understand it. And I like the Lions. I like the direction they're going. I think they're going to be a relevant team this year.
They got a couple of primetime games.
They do.
Finished strong last
But that's what I mean. I just wonder, like, what their thought process is. And, again, I don't follow these teams really closely, so I don't listen to the coaches, when they're on their local radio shows or any of that bullshit. So I don't really know what their frame of mind or what these teams' quote-unquote needs were. But they didn't need a running back.
It's Detroit Lions. What can I tell you?
I guess so.
I
Maybe.
mean, what can... You want to talk about failures? We talking about Giannis.
Yeah.
How could you call the Detroit Lions in the last 4, 5, 6 decades not a failure?
Right.
Are
Well, that's
you
what I'm
kidding
saying.
me?
There are some franchises that just don't win, right? They just never win. They've always been crappy.
Stuck in mud.
Right. And first of all, I don't even understand how they hang around for so long. But, it's entertainment. That's how.
Well, the Ford family
Right.
makes...
Listen.
The Lions are their little... This is what we do on Sundays.
Right. and the place is still, packed. Albeit, I don't care if it is fans from the other team. I don't care. At least
There's interest.
Right. There's some interest there, Like me, I'm not a Tampa Rays fan, but I'm going to go see the Red Sox when they come play, So they're attracting me. The New York Yankees have a shit ton of fans down here, as you know, right? This is New York South down here.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Foxborough.
right. So, they're going to fill the stadiums, But if Miami Marlins are playing, in any other year besides this one, the Pittsburgh Pirates, what are they going to, 5,000 people show up, and it's just going to be these people that want to just, take their kids out for a night. And guess what? It's an affordable night out because they don't charge outrageous prices like the Red Sox do, like the Yankees do, like the Dodgers, the Mets, So you can take your family. Listen, you got a family of 4, you, your wife, your 2 kids. You know how much it's going to cost you to go to Fenway, including parking if you park there, which I would never recommend, including your tickets and your food? You're going to drop $5. $500 with the fuck. By the way, it's probably more than that. If the tickets are $100 a piece, that's $400 for just 4 seats right there.
You're not sitting in good seats, by the way.
Beers are $10 a piece, by the way. And I'm not making this political, but this was funny. They had shown videos. The beer stands. Fucking there was nobody at the Bud Light stand.
A couple years from now, we won't even be talking about it. That is funny, though.
It is funny. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, whatever. Listen, I don't drink Bud Light anyways. I didn't like it before their thing, and I didn't like it afterwards. And I've already told this to people. My beer of choice is Sam Adams, and it's not because I'm from Boston. I just like Sam Adams. I like beer. Okay,
I've been to their brewery.
Yeah.
Jamaica Plain section of Boston.
Yes, sir.
If you're in the area, go there.
Absolutely. So
free plug.
If they get a transgender or a transvestite or a homosexual or a lesbian or anybody else to be their spokesperson, I'm not going to stop drinking their fucking beer. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't care, okay?
Great beer.
I don't give a shit. But I found it hysterical. They were, had shown that and the fucking beer stand was empty. But the beer stands in a lot of these stadiums.
And $12 a beer.
Exactly. And a lot of them are empty because they don't fill the stadiums. I'm always wondering, how do they stay in business? How have the Pirates stayed in business this long?
It's got to be the revenue sharing. That's the only way.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati, Pittsburgh.
Right.
When a baseball season starts, you can just scratch out 60, 70% of Major League Baseball.
Exactly.
You will not be playing in October.
Right.
Period.
Right. I asked my friend Bill, who we had on the show a couple of weeks ago, he talked to Bruins with us. I asked him, I said, You played sports, into his adult life, okay? I says, how must it feel to be the best player on a team, okay? Like Mike Trout, for example, before Ohtani came along, right? You know that you're the best player on the entire fucking planet, and you can't win. It's got to be frustrating. I would rather suck and be on a team that wins all the time or be mediocre than to be the best player on my team and fucking lose year after year after year.
I want the hardware.
Absolutely.
I want the hardware.
Me too. But, I said to him, how can, you look, I'm going to pull up, I haven't looked at these standings, but let me pull up the Major League Baseball standings. I'm pretty sure the Royals are in last place, are they not?
It's a safe bet.
Hold on 1 second here. Okay. So the Royals are 12-28. How the fuck can you get up and get motivated to go to work every day? And then I sat and thought, after I asked him that question, and we hung up the phone, I actually sat and thought about it. I'm like, well, you know what? They're lucky enough to be playing professional baseball, number one. If it's me, if the Kansas City Royals called me tomorrow and wanted me to be their third base coach, I'd be over the fucking moon, and I'd be on a plane saying, see you later, Sonny.
Sure.
Right? I don't even like the fucking Royals, So
it's big league baseball.
Exactly. But still, you're human, right? You're a man. You're a competitor. These guys are competitors, all these athletes. So when you're a member of the, Chicago Bears that wins 2 football games, when you're the Kansas City Royals that has only won,
Texans.
Right.
It's the worst franchise in sports right now, I think.
Exactly. So, how do you get motivated to go to work every day? And then Bill pointed out to me.
When you don't feel motivated, take out your contract.
That's right.
Just take out your contract, call your agent. Yeah. You'll get over it.
Tell you what, why don't you go pump fucking gas for $16 an hour and tell me if your life is better then? Do you feel more acclimated then? Do you feel like you're more in charge, or you feel like a winner? Because you're pumping gas. No. So they collect their paycheck, and And I give them a lot of credit because they're out there trying. I mean, they're really trying. They're trying to win, right? Even in August, when you're fucking 30 games out of first
Dog
place.
days of August.
Right, 30 games out of first place. You know, you're in Kansas City. It's 110 on the field. And you got to be thinking to yourself, even if you're making all that money, holy shit, this sucks.
It's just like the same thing. We lose 3 out of every 10 games. We stink.
And then
I go to work every day.
So then that got me to thinking about the greatest athletes that never won a championship. Because when you think about the best of the best, right? Is it safe to say that almost all of them have a championship ring? At least one.
For the most part, yeah.
So I started trying to come up with a list of people that were great in sports that never won a championship. Of course, the first name on my list is Dan Marino.
That'd be on my list.
And the reason he's number one is because not only did he not win one, but he only went to one his rookie year and never went back again.
His second season.
So how can you ever consider Dan Marino to be one of the greatest quarterbacks ever if he doesn't even make it to a Super Bowl? And it's statistics driven. That's how you say he's one of the greatest ever. Because the fucking guy threw for 50,000 yards and 500 touchdowns, whatever it is.
He didn't have a defense until the late 90s when they got Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor. That's a long period of time of having to score 35 to 40 points.
Right.
He had no running game for the most part.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean.
And I start to wonder if Don Shula was more of a detriment to him than he was helpful to him in his career. You know, if he had.
I don't think he was a detriment. At the latter part of his career, Jimmy Johnson was.
Yeah.
He handcuffed Marino.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy had to have it his way.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy wanted to move on from him, too, I think, though.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
he's an egomaniac. He wants everything stamped his way. He worked in Dallas.
Right.
Which, well, the person, I know we're going off track here. You know who you can thank for those Cowboys 3 championships? His name is Mike Lynn. That's a GM of the Minnesota Vikings.
That's right.
That gave up a king's ransom
for
Herschel Walker.
Mm-hmm.
So you can thank him.
Right.
They should have sent him a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah. Do you remember when Mike Ditka dressed up as his Ricky Williams? Remember he had the fucking wig on?
God.
I was thinking the other day, I'm like, man, if anybody tried that bullshit now, oh my God, he'd be called a racist. He'd be, every name under the book. You know, there's certain things that you can't do that you used to be able to do, but he was a character. I miss those characters.
Ditka was, again, just anger, just
yeah.
Fire turns red. That's what made it so funny.
Yeah.
When he
that was hysterical. I was thinking about that when I was thinking about a lot of things when I was on that long drive. That was one of the things I was thinking about. And why it popped into my head when I was trying to think of the greatest players that have never won a championship. Why that happened, I don't know. But it's very rare that a guy is considered truly great. That word's overused all the fucking time with things. I know that. But when people are considered truly great, a Hall of Famer, and I kind of already know the answer to this question because it's probably an unfair question. But, I mean, do you have to win championships to go into the Hall of Fame?
No
you
way.
Don't.
Karl
right?
Malone, Marino,
right.
Jim Kelly.
Right. So why do we put so much emphasis on it then?
Our society. I don't know how to answer that question.
Because Cal Ripken never won a Super Bowl. He never won a World Series.
Cal Ripken, he did. 83.
Did he win a World Series?
They beat the Phillies.
Oh, okay, you're right. That was when he was his second year in the league, right?
Very early on, but most of his career, the Orioles were horrible.
Right. They were horrible. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And again, like Marino, goes once, never goes back again. And by the way, he landed on a team that was phenomenal with Jim Palmer and Scott McGregor and Flanagan and all those fucking. I mean, they had the best pitching staff in baseball from 79 to 85, whatever it was.
They did. Nutcase Earl Weaver as the manager.
Right. But there have been a lot of great players with no championships or a very, very long career.
Countless. Look at all those Buffalo Bills players.
Right. Yeah. And they're all Hall of Famers.
Yeah, Smith. And deservedly.
Right.
They absolutely deserve to be there.
How the fuck do you lose 4 Super Bowls in a row? I mean, seriously. You know how hard that is? You know how hard it is to go to 4 Super Bowls in a row?
And then
the Patriots didn't go to 4 in a row.
Just to have that fortitude to get back, to not give up. You know what I mean?
Right.
It is what it is. The last 3 they had no shot in. It was that first one against the Giants. That was their time.
Yeah. But I getting back to baseball really quick. But that's why I like the way that they have formatted everything. Now, I'm all done with interleague play. They can do that shit. They can do away with.
It served its purpose for a while.
Yeah.
I agree.
Done.
Or
I'm done with
just now it's overboard. Now you have to play every team
Right.
in the league, which now you're not playing your division teams as much.
That's what I want more of.
I do too.
I'd rather have more division games.
Of course.
Yeah, I'd rather have more division games. I also am a fan of baseball season being from like May. You take out April. Take out March and April. We don't fucking need it. We can use it. Spring training. Do spring training for a month and a half. You know?
I'm all for 130, 140 game season.
Yeah. I say you go from, May to September. May 1st, September 1st, or however you want to figure out the dates in there. Do away with the interleague play, More division games, absolutely more division games. But as far as everything else goes, because they're keeping a lot of cities interested. You only got maybe one or two cities that, their baseball team is fucking horrendous, and the Royals just happen to be one of them. But baseball is all about streaks, right? If they go on a 7-game winning streak,
yeah,
they're back to 500.
You have hope now.
Exactly.
With the wild card.
Right.
No.
And it's something to do, I mean, what else are you going to do in the middle of summer? I mean, I shouldn't say that. There's lots of things to do in the middle of summer. That's not what I mean. But as far as sports goes, right, So I think that baseball's done a phenomenal job at trying to get back at the fans. I do. I really think that and it has nothing to do with the commissioner of the league. I don't know if the people are making a lot of these decisions. I don't know if this comes like the owners or, whoever it is. But a lot of these changes have been good. And I like the playoff format very much because it's going to keep a lot of teams in the thick of things.
I don't like any of these play-in tournaments rounds. I don't like at all.
Yeah,
the wild card round 3 out of 5, I have no problem.
Yeah,
with.
but yeah, they got to do away with that fucking playing game in the NBA.
Whatever.
That's the most ridiculous thing ever. You either make the fucking playoffs or you don't when the season's over. We're going to give you another chance
Again,
right? That's all
all.
it's about. It's about fucking money. Money. That's about money. You know what I compare it to? When you got to give every kid a fucking trophy now, even the ones that lose, it's kind of like that. It's like, okay, well, even though you sucked, we're going to give you one more chance because we're greedy. We want to bring in that extra $18,000 or whatever the fuck it is they're going to make on that game.
For a watered-down product.
Right, exactly. Right. So, but, wild card teams have gone on to do some great things. The Los Angeles Angels, I don't know if they were Los Angeles then or not, or if they were Anaheim when they won the World Series in, was it 2002, as a wild card team.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's going to happen.
Right.
But the play-in part,
yeah, I'm done with that. Yeah,
teams under 500 are competing for the postseason.
Yeah, they don't need no play-in game in the NBA. They don't need that shit. So
I don't think it's going anywhere.
I'm
glad hockey doesn't do it.
Yeah, I'm okay with wild cards, but I don't know. I mean, where do you draw the line with how many teams get in? Because I had always thought my whole life that I'm like, oh man, every team in hockey makes the fucking playoffs, and now even more teams.
In basketball, yeah, half the teams in the NBA and hockey.
Right.
That's why, to go into another sport, NFL, I liked how they used to have it. 6 of 16 made it. Now it's 7.
Right.
Yeah, all right, it's only one more, but to make the playoffs, in my opinion, it should be an exclusive club.
Yeah.
Not half the teams.
No.
It should be exclusive, and sports more and more, it's not like that. You get a pat on the back. Hey, you're 500. You're in the postseason. You get to play for a championship.
Yeah.
Until 1969, remember in baseball, there were 2 playoff teams. There was before, you played in AL and LCS. You went to the World Series.
Right.
Now there's 2 additional rounds.
Right. Which
too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't like that first. I don't know. It's too long.
I agree to a certain extent. I like it because it keeps all these cities involved.
It keeps fan interest.
But I know damn well that they're only doing it because they want to bring in more money.
Of course.
But listen, is there anything in the world that's not driven by money?
No.
Except for this show. By the way, we don't get paid to do this, ladies and gentlemen. This is money that comes out of our own pocket that we make, that we do this because we enjoy doing it. We hope to get paid for it someday because everything is about money. Everything's driven by money, right? We all want to make it. We all need to make it. Everybody loves to have it. You can never have enough of it. I don't care who you are. You can be Jeff Bezos. You didn't become a billionaire by not doing anything. It takes money to make money. So these guys clearly have the money. It just would frustrate me if my teams weren't. It does frustrate me when I feel that the Red Sox, Celtics, Bruins, and Patriots are not spending what I consider money wisely. It's like, what the fuck are you paying this guy $3? Like with the Patriots, Jacoby Myers, right? They let him walk because he wanted $3 million a year for 3 years, but then they bring in Juju Schuster and give him $3 million a year for 3 years.
The same player.
And I'm thinking to myself, $30 million, whatever the fucking contract was. You know what I'm saying? It was the same as that contract. And I'm thinking to myself, okay.
What was the purpose?
You let a guy walk that knows your system already, that was successful in your system. I like Jacoby Myers. He was doing some really good things there. To bring in a guy that you don't know about that's older, that now has to learn the system, and we've all seen that when you and come on join a New England Patriots team, and I know Josh McDaniels isn't there anymore, especially on offense, that the Chad Ochocinco's of the world, Reggie Wayne, they couldn't figure it out, right? What the fuck makes you think Juju Smith is going to fucking figure it out?
I mean, he's a good player. I wouldn't have given him that
Right.
contract.
No,
I wouldn't have given him that.
And that's what I mean. It's like, okay, do you want to get better? I mean, are you trying to get better, or are you just thinking about your bottom line?
Pats last year or two, they're a little bit. You can't complain. They
No.
get a free pass for a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
After what you've,
No.
I mean, come on.
listen, as long as they're competitive, I'm okay. That's what I was saying about the Red Sox. Stay competitive. Keep me interested all summer. Don't be fucking out of it by July 4th. If you're out of it by July 4th,
I think
it
you
sucks.
have a good 3-team race in that division. I mean, the Orioles will become the Orioles again at some point.
I don't think so. I think the Orioles are for real, Sonny. They've got good pitching. They do. They've got some good pitching, and they can hit the ball. They've got the Orioles are a good team.
It's still early.
That's the best division in baseball, by the way.
Of course.
The American League
Oh,
East.
yeah, sure.
Because the Yankees aren't going to stay in the fucking cellar. As soon as they get healthy, they're going to be right back up there again.
They'll make a deal at the
they are.
trading deadline, though.
Exactly. And if they're not, they're going to make deals to make sure that they are. To me, the Atlanta Braves are the best team in all of baseball. I think the Atlanta.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think they're going to be the team that the Dodgers and the Padres. It's the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Braves in the National League. That's who I feel the top 3 dogs are. And in the American League, I'm not sold.
Tampa.
I'm not sold on them from wire to wire. I'm not.
I'm speaking as of now.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Yeah. But I think that division will be decided. It'll be either Tampa or the Yankees. I don't think the Red Sox have enough pitching to finish in first place, certainly, to win the division.
They might sneak a
But
wild card.
they'll right. If they finish third, I'd be okay with that. Because that's what my expectations were this year. I expected them to finish. And listen, I didn't even mention Toronto. They're fucking good too. Now that I think of it, Jesus, great. The whole division's stacked now. So, and they're going to be beating up on each other, right? That's what I like.
Yeah, you're not going to really have. You may not have a 100-win team.
Right.
They're going to beat the snot out of each other.
Right, but that's good, man. Keep it, 5-6 games amongst, first place and last place. I'd be happy with that, man. If they're all bunched together, that would be fucking fantastic.
I think that'll happen in football in the AFC East. They're going to beat on each other.
I don't. I saw the Patriots schedule yesterday, okay? I know you guys, I talked to some people, they wanted me to mention it. I'll mention it. This is what I'm going to mention. 7-10. That's what they're going to go, okay? Let me pull this up here. Don't look at me like that, Sonny. Okay.
7-10.
Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Before I get to that.
You think they're that crappy? 7-10, really?
Yeah, hold on. Okay. So, they open up with Philadelphia. Loss. Then they play Miami. I know it's in New England.
NFL fans do this every year.
I know.
And it usually...
Well, I said that they were going to win 8 games last year. So I was pretty close. I know this fucking football team, Sonny. I'll do this.
You know what I'm saying, though? The
Yes.
games that you said win a lot, half of them, something's going to go awry, and it'll...
Yeah, very well could happen that way. Right, 'cause somebody could get injured or whatever. But so they got Miami. Okay, so they may beat the Dolphins at home. Okay, but they very well could start out 0-4 because then they go to New York and play the Jets, who now have Aaron Rodgers, who is going to make them a lot better. They are going to be a relevant football team, okay?
They'll be
They got a really good defense, and they always play the Patriots tough anyways, okay? Then they got the Cowboys. Then these are 2 winnable games, these next 2 winnable games, which is the Saints, because they suck, and they have the Raiders, who are going to be good, but I think the Patriots can beat them, I think. They probably won't, but I think they can.
Familiarity with McDaniels.
Yep.
On both sides,
Right. So then they have Buffalo, loss. Then they play Miami again in Miami. They never win there. Okay? Then they have the Commanders.
Win.
Indianapolis. They can win that game.
Of course,
Absolutely.
With a rookie QB.
The Giants. I can't wait. Me and the midget that week are going to fucking have it out. I know a lot of people think that the Giants are going to come back to earth this season. I disagree. I think they're actually going to have a really good season. Now I have them with an opposite record. I have them like 9-8, 10-7. I think I have to go
All up
look.
to Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Then they play the LA Chargers. Now, depending on which Chargers team shows up,
Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde team.
right? But they still have much better talent, I think, than what the Patriots have.
Love that QB.
Yeah. The Steelers. I think Pickett's the real deal, man. I think he's gonna.
They can beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
I think he's the real deal too. But I think they can beat the Steelers.
But I don't think they're going to. It's in Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh will win that game. Kansas City, no, they're not winning that game. Then they have the Broncos. They can beat the Broncos, I think. But having said that, they never win in Denver. Never. Even when they had Tom Brady, they couldn't win in Denver. For whatever reason, that fucking place is a house of horrors for them.
It's a tough
it is
place
for a
to
lot of
play.
people, right? You can't breathe up there, for one thing.
Got to get there a day earlier.
Exactly. And then they have Buffalo, and then the Jets. That's who they end up with. You see more than 7 wins in that schedule I just laid out to you? Because I don't.
If they split the division, yeah. If they go 3-3 in the division, yeah, they'll win 1-7.
Okay, they're not going to beat Buffalo once. They're going to go 0-2 against them. You can fucking make that face all you want. They're not going to beat Buffalo. They're not going to.
They could easily split the Jets and the Fins.
Listen, again, all things being equal, if we're playing Madden and everybody's fucking healthy, they're not winning. They're not beating Buffalo. They don't have enough to beat Buffalo. Buffalo's still a really good team, in case people forgot.
Yeah, they'll win the division.
I don't. And again, Philadelphia, Miami, the Jets, and the Cowboys. They could very easily start out 0-4.
Then you'll have, well, depending how Mac's playing, they might be. Do they still have Bailey Zappi on the team?
Yeah.
They might be calling for him before you know.
Very well could be. And listen, football's not like baseball where you get to the trade deadline, you can make all like they don't ever do that in
know,
football.
yeah, no,
right? Never.
When you're 0-4, it's over.
Right. Exactly. You can't. So
It's the beauty of letting the season play out.
Yeah.
And whenever we do this, and all NFL fans do it, you look at the.
oh yeah, right.
It always changes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. Listen, we'll get everybody's predictions, right? Everybody's Super Bowl predictions, and you know damn well everybody's going to pick. Like I already know if I go on the NFL Network, I know who each person's going to fucking pick, right? And if you watch it, you know too. Michael Irvin's going to say the Cowboys are going to go back to the fucking Super Bowl like he does. Right. Kurt Warner will say it'll either be the Chiefs or the not the Rams.
He played for the Cardinals. Is that what you mean?
No, I'm trying to think. Who was the I can't think. It's slipping my mind now what I was thinking about. But anyways, they're all going to say, who they think their division winners are. And, there's always going to be a surprise or two that happens, right? There is every year. There's always a major injury or two that happens every year. Major running backs go down, quarterbacks go out, and, it changes the whole complex of your team. So, anything could happen. But that's why this is fun, and that's why we like to do it. Because I look at this schedule, and I say, again, if I'm playing Madden and I get the injuries off, fucking team's going 7-10, 8-9 at best, And for me, it's not good enough because they're going to beat the teams I expect them to beat, and they're going to probably get blown away by the team. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely wrong. Exactly. Any given Sunday, that's what they say, right? Any given Sunday, anything can happen. And it's, same in baseball. You're only as good as your next day's starting pitching. I watched, Brian Bayo, who's a rookie for the Red Sox. Well, sort of a rookie. He was with them last year. But, he'll come out one start. Looked like you or I would look if we were fucking facing, major league hitters. Then he comes out the other night, fucking guy gives up 2 hits in fucking 7 innings, So it's
young pitcher.
Exactly, but that's why it's fun because it's not like we're in football where if you got like a shitty quarterback, that's why pitching is different. A pitcher can suck one day. A quarterback's not going to go out there and have a Pro Bowl week one week and look phenomenal, look like Patrick Mahomes, and then the next week look
Zach
like
Wilson.
Right. So I've never seen Zach have a truly great NFL game.
That's why they went out of their way and paid a king's ransom to bring number.
Exactly.
Now he's wearing number 8.
Right. You just can't
Bring
do
Aaron
it.
Rodgers
By
in.
the way, I heard, and I don't remember what team this was, but they were calling Andrew Luck.
Oh, it was the Commanders.
Was it the Commanders? I'm like, who?
After 3 years.
That fucking guy's been sitting at home for 3 years doing. I don't know what he majored in school or whatever, but I'm quite certain he's probably in the family business, or I don't know if he's doing.
He went to Stanford, so he's got options.
Exactly right. He'd be a fucking lawyer for all I know, and he's doing okay.
He's good.
Right.
He's good.
And he left on his own accord.
Yeah, he retired in training camp. Yeah.
Right. And don't give me this bullshit with
Preseason.
injuries. Fuck, it had nothing to do with injury. He just didn't want to play no more. That's okay.
Fine.
Great.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
That's what they all should do if they don't feel like playing anymore. Just fucking bow out gracefully. Say, hey, here's your money back. I'm sorry. It's just not in me anymore.
And he played 7 years. It's not like it was a year or two.
Right. Exactly. It wasn't like he came in and he was,
Good quarterback, injury problems.
Yeah. And see, he's one of the ones that I don't put as we did the draft bust a few weeks ago with Tyler. I don't put
not
him.
a bust.
I don't consider that.
He's not a bust.
No, I think he was okay. So what else you got?
I'm good.
Yeah, I am too.
You got to get home, get to
do.
the family.
Yeah, I know.
And to all the ladies, to everybody, happy Mother's Day out there.
Yes,
Can't forget
absolutely.
that.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. Do whatever you want to do, wherever you want to do it.
It's your day.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're going out to the ball games, or any of the ball games that are happening over the weekend, enjoy yourselves. I'm not sure. So here's the deal. Tyler is getting married in a few weeks. So I know we're going to have some time at the beginning of June where we're going to have like a couple of weeks off because, we won't be able to do any of the editing and stuff. I didn't want to do a podcast or a program and then have it sit, somewhere in the editing floor, for fucking 3 weeks, and then he comes along and edits it because then it's going to be irrelevant, no good, right? So I want to be able to, because Tyler is also our editor, in case you guys didn't know, thank God. Because if I had to do it, it's too time consuming.
And he's damn good at it.
He is, and he's very, very, very good at it. Much better than I am. I learned a long time ago. You know what makes me the fucking smartest person in the room? To make sure everybody else in the room is smarter than me. I learned that a long fucking time ago.
Delegate.
Absolutely. You're only as good as the people around you, and we got some really good people around us.
We do.
And I look forward to speaking to Rock in the future. I look forward to even trying to get a couple of the guys that I talk sports with that work at the other. I can't mention their name.
The other outfit.
Yeah, the other outfit that I work for that is also a media conglomerate. I can get a couple of those guys to come on here. These are people that have been in the industry, folks, for over 30 years in some cases 40 years. So they're extremely knowledgeable. They know what they're doing. And I really look forward to talking to them, getting some pointers from them and, kind of picking their brain. And, I'm always interested in the stories people have to say about, athletes that they've met or celebrities or that they've had to deal with on an everyday, day-to-day basis, Like, the worst job in the world has to be a Patriots beat writer. How the fuck you can stand there with Bill Belichick every week, and not
We're on to Cincinnati.
And not get pissed off, me as a fan, I'm even like, come on, Bill, man. I mean,
He's just
let me tell you something.
Pain in the ass. That's what he is.
Before we go, I was listening to after the draft. Okay, I was listening to sports talk radio station in Boston, and I heard a reporter ask Bill Belichick about they drafted all defense the first 4 rounds, right? Mm-hmm. Defense. Okay. And he asked him about that, and he said to him, "Well, is that just because that's how the draft fell? Like that's how the players fell, something to that effect, or whatever?"
Sure. Your draft board. That's
how. This is how he answered it. No, I don't see it that way. And then that was the end of it. And I'm like, come on, man. The guy's got a fucking job to do, man. You can't answer the simple question. I mean,
he's been that way from day
I know,
one.
And it's just so frustrating to me, though. It's like it's okay to answer, man. You're not giving away any government fucking secrets here. The Russians aren't going to come invade us anytime soon because you fucking gave talking about how you drafted or what your strategy was in the draft. You know what? He's so afraid that teams are gonna, they're gonna pick up on what we want to do. Bill, you've drafted the same way, dude, for 27 fucking years. Everybody knows what you're gonna do already.
Guy.
Right? They know how you think. They know you're gonna want to trade down to get defensive players. You're not giving away any secrets already. Just answer the question. Because see, if I'm that reporter, that's why I don't have a job. Because see, I'm gonna sit there and go, okay.
You're going to insult him and lose your beat.
Exactly. Right? I am going to insult. Or he's going to get pissed off and he's going to say, I'm not answering any questions from that guy. Okay, I'm sorry that you want to answer the questions that actually people really, really want to know.
That's
not
what makes him, though.
I suppose so, but it's still.
It's of course it's annoying. It's never changing.
No.
He's day one in New England. That's how he was.
Yeah. If you want to talk about the history of the NFL, he'll sit there and talk your fucking ear off. He'll talk to you for a week, even if he don't know you.
Expressionless, of course.
Exactly. Right. Although, no, I saw when they did the 100 greatest athletes of all time in the NFL, he showed some personality there. And I've seen and heard very short glimpses of it over his career in New England. But, Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of it.
Have you ever seen the Two Bills? It's a documentary.
Oh yeah,
With Parcells.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he showed a
of course.
little bit of personality
Yeah.
there too.
right. Yeah,
It was the first time they kind of got together.
and
They
you
had
would,
some animosity. They got together for the first time for that documentary, and
Sure.
I liked it. I thought it was entertaining.
I did too. And you would think with a mentor like Bill Parcells that he would be a little bit more open. He'd fuck with the media a little bit more. Parcells used to fuck with him all the time.
See, that's the thing. They're both grumps. They hate the media. One of them wants to lash out. Like, the Parcells is going to give you the venom. Belichick's going to ignore, put it to the side. Let me get the hell out of here.
But-
Parcells wants to continue ripping you apart when you ask him a
But no,
question.
it wasn't just ripping them apart though, because he had fun with the reporters. I
kinda
listened-
did.
I remember Parcells having more fun with them than anything else. Remember we used to stand outside the locker, the famous NFL films clip. He said, "You know why I call you guys commies? That's why, because you asked a question like that." I mean, they're all laughing about it.
Yeah.
When he was with Dallas, it was always entertaining, his press conferences. You know what I mean?
The sarcasm. What have you.
Exactly. Right. That's okay. I mean, it wasn't always like that. I'm not saying it'd be like that 100% of the time. But, to make it, you make the guy feel that's asking the question like he's doing you a disservice or like he's bothering you.
He's doing his job.
Yeah. You ever bother your father when you were little, when he was in the middle of doing something, and
course.
the way he acts? That's how Bill Belichick acts. He acts like he's your father, and you're fucking bothering him when he's trying to work.
That's your career. That's your job. You cover a team.
Yeah.
I mean, cut him some slack, but it is what it is. If that's your assignment, the Patriots.
Yeah.
thick
I mean,
skin,
again,
you gotta. I mean,
if I got a call tomorrow to cover them, I mean, obviously I'd be thrilled, right? But to have to deal, that's why when he was on the morning show that I used to listen to on EEI, I used to think to myself, I'm sorry, the afternoon show on EEI. I can say it now because they're not on the air anymore. It was Merloni and Faurier. Okay, when he was on with them in the afternoons, I would think to myself, these guys and they would make fun of it later on in the week or whatever. They would play. They used to have this contest. Who could get the longest pause from Bill Belichick? Because you'd ask him a question, and this is what you'd get for fucking 15 seconds. I'm not sure. And it's like, it's uncomfortable pause. That's what it is. It's an uncomfortable pause because you're sitting there, and everybody in the studio is fucking looking at each other. Is he going to talk? I mean, are we supposed to ask him another question?
you can have a million better
What the
guests.
fuck is going on? Right. And I used to think to myself, oh my God, I feel for these guys. They got to talk to this fucking guy every week. I mean, I love him. He's won championship. He's probably the greatest coach ever.
he is.
But, well, there are going to be some people that debate that because he's not winning without Tom Brady. So,
Understood.
but listen,
That's
you know what
not-
I've
we can
decided to do from now on? Instead of saying this guy's the fucking GOAT, we just got to say he's one of the
I
greatest.
agree.
That's the
agree.
phrase we need
I
to
agree.
use. Because how do you compare?
Some
How the fuck are you going to compare Babe Ruth to Aaron Judge?
a Packer fan will tell you if you say anybody but Vince Lombardi, you're out of your mind.
Right.
So,
Miami fans will tell you if you say
Sure.
anything but Don Shula, you're out
those
of
are the
your
wins.
mind.
I
Exactly.
used to think of Shula, but when
And
you have 2 rings and one guy has 6,
Well, I'm
difference is
telling
too
you
much.
right now, who people are starting to talk about is Andy Reid.
As the greatest or among maybe.
Well, how many more
Among?
championships does he need to win for you?
No, none. I'm saying the.
Okay, well, if he wins 3 more, guess what? He's got the same as Bill.
Well, he has 2 rings.
He's got 3, doesn't he? 2 rings with Kansas
as a
City.
head coach too. As a
Okay,
assistant. Would
so if he
be
wins
great,
4 more,
which is very unlikely. His age, he's in a retirement year.
forget. No, he's not. Forget that shit. These guys will coach to the fucking 80. They will because they can. Because they have these young talent. They have all this young talent around them. As long as you keep that young talent, and Kansas City's not afraid to spend money, I think they're always going to be in contention. So,
Kelsey won't be around forever.
but you got to, look him up. How many wins does Andy Reid have in his career? Should ask Siri. She'll tell us. But he's definitely considered now one of the greatest since he won this last championship now. I thought it was his 3rd. For some reason, I thought it was his 3rd. Oh, did he win one as an assistant with
Green Bay?
Green Bay?
He
Yeah,
did.
that's what I was
Brett
thinking
Favre.
of. That's what I was thinking of.
269 and 154.
Okay, so 269 wins, 154 losses. That's a good. Where does he stand on the? Does it show where he is on the list of coaches as far as wins goes? I'm just
No, on
curious
his
about that.
no. I mean, of course, Shula's won.
Yeah. I mean, and
347.
Belichick will, but that's another thing. Like Belichick, he'll hang around until he breaks that record, even if they suck. You know.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree.
You know.
I think that's the main reason he's sticking around. He doesn't need the money. Doesn't need any more championships. And of course, he wants them.
Right.
But he's not. You know.
You know, you say that, Sonny, but I was thinking, but he really loves to do it. You know,
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
this is his.
listen, I tell people
He's
this
the son
all
of
the
a coach. He's the son of a coach.
Sure. When you do something that you truly love, like I love what I do. I mean, when I mean I love it, I mean I love it. I haven't considered myself, quote unquote, going to work in like 6 years. Okay? Because every day doesn't feel like work to me. So when it goes, and I mean it is, you know what I mean, and I put my all into it. I mean, and I'm successful because of it, but to me it doesn't seem like work. And I think it's probably the same way for these guys too. I mean, this is what they do.
It's what he knows. I can't.
And when
see
you've
him.
been doing it for 50 years, because that's how long he's been doing it for.
Yeah.
It can't be easy to walk away. I mean, listen, we all talk about going off and retire and sunny days, and that's all fine and good, but you can only do so much of that, and especially when you're in sports, because of the competitive nature. It's all about the competition with these guys, right? They need to fill that void. That's why Michael went and gambled as much as he did. He needed that competitiveness.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. If you go out on the golf course with them, and I know this for a fact, him and Tom Brady, right? It's a fucking all-out war. Right.
You've always been
right.
the Barkley,
everything.
any of the guys.
They'll bet
the
on
guys.
anything. They'll bet on how much fucking a can of Coke is going to be at a certain place if that's what they want to do. And it's not because they're gambling holics. You know what I mean? They're not bad gamblers.
It's the win or lose mentality.
Exactly.
I got to compete at something.
Right. And it might not even be money that they're betting on. I mean, it could be anything. It could be dinner. It could be
bragging rights.
Right. Exactly. Right. So. Or it could be, you're going to come on my podcast if I win, or you're going to come on mine, that type of shit,
Millions of things.
I'll donate to your charity, or you can donate to my charity.
Players have done that.
Absolutely.
Players have absolutely done that.
And by the way, we need more stories like that out there. I mean, we're always hearing about all the negative things that these fucking guys are doing when they're getting arrested, when they're out drinking and driving, when they're beating their fucking wives. But we never hear about when they're at children's hospitals. We never hear they're giving out turkeys at Thanksgiving. I mean, we do, right?
We'll mention it more when we hear these nice stories.
Yeah, but, they need to be mentioned a lot more often, and not just sports. I mean, I think in life in general, right? I mean, there's just too much negative.
A little more positive we need.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, a lot of these guys, the reason you don't hear about it is because a lot of these guys do it under the radar.
Which I like.
There was, I'm trying to remember. There was a player in Boston. If you guys could hit me up on social media or text me when you see this, because I won't remember by the time this airs this week who this player was. But I know. Never mind. I don't need you to. It was Mookie Betts.
Okay.
In the middle of the night, 2 a.m, 3 a.m, he would go to homeless shelters. That's when he did it. He didn't do it in the middle of the day. He didn't do it, bringing the fucking cameras with them.
With local media.
Quietly out the back door. Quietly, rather in the back door, quietly out the back door, and no selfies, no fucking, on his Instagram saying, look what I'm doing, look how great I am.
Like a Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers.
Right. I'm feeding all these fucking people, Let other people do that for you. But he specifically didn't want to, be called out, followed to doing those kind of things. So some of those guys, they do a lot of good work, and we just don't hear about it. Right. And I just think it should be mentioned more.
I'm glad you mentioned Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Class act.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Now a Dodger.
Yeah, I know. Don't forget. Although
you won with him.
Listen, and it's not only that, but the players we got back from him in Verdugo and Connor Wong are producing.
Yeah.
So I'm okay.
It's baseball. It's going to happen.
That's it, man. That's a trade. I think that's going to be one of those trades where we look back and say,
both
okay,
sides won.
Right. I think that was kind of a win-win. We don't listen. It's not etched in stone that we would have won World Series if we kept Mookie Betts. I mean, obviously.
It's about pitching. Come on.
Listen, man, you can't pay everybody, right? You just can't. And, that's just the way it is in sports now. It's more of a business than it is. But now I'm going to go all the way back to when we first started this podcast with Giannis. Because one of the things that I think he was really trying to get across was, at the end of the day, it is just a game. We get paid millions of dollars. It brings in millions of dollars. We understand that. But at the end of the day, this is a children's game that we're playing.
It's not
and
war.
Not everybody can win. Only one team in each respective sport is going to stand there at the end of the year and hold that trophy up. And I'm going to tell you right now, the team that finishes second to that team is going to feel exactly the way I feel, if not worse.
He tried to convey that to the reporter.
Yeah.
As in, I mean, he didn't say only one team wins, I don't believe. But
well, I think he said at the end of the day, there can only be one champion, I think is what he said. Something to that effect.
So he spoke, like I said, very well. I don't think that reporter will be asking him that again.
No, not if he has any fucking smarts in him. He won't. I mean, I certainly wouldn't. And again, he was so respectful at the way he handled that reporter.
Absolutely.
Because if you watch the video, you can tell by looking at him, like he shakes his head.
He's irritated, of course.
And he's like, I can't believe you're asking me this again. But he's right though. We put so much emphasis on it. When teams lose and stuff, that we're just like, okay, let's keep it in perspective, man. Life still goes on.
He's a classy guy. I like him.
Yep.
And no matter what happens the rest of his career, he's never going to have the stigma of. I mean, he at least got one.
That's right.
He's not going to be in the Malone, the Ewing.
Right.
He's not in that class.
No.
He got that one.
Yep. That's right. And that's all you really need to have in a career. You win one championship, you're probably considered very lucky. Again, listen.
Remember Steve Young? The monkey off my back.
That's right. Exactly. It's exactly who I was just going to use as an example. And I was going to use that example, too, with the monkey off his back. I love that clip. I love that clip. That and the fact that, his monkey was Joe Montana. So I think you'd see something similar if Mac Jones goes and wins a Super Bowl, right? I got the ghost of Tom Brady off me. I mean, listen. When you follow the GOAT, I mean, what the fuck are you going to do?
So worse, you want to be the guy, the second guy after the GOAT.
Of course, exactly. That's exactly what I would want. I don't want to be the next guy. Nope, no thanks. No, no, too hard of an act to follow. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next week. Happy Mother's Day to my wife and my daughter, and to all of you out there that are watching. Remember, be better tomorrow than you were today.